Stitch Roadies. Welcome. Glad to join you here today. It is, let's do a little weather report, shall we? It's definitely fall. It's definitely fall. It has that little crisp in the air, and with that comes all the trees changing colors. And so there are leaves floating everywhere. And when I was in taking a shower, it was almost like a strobe light because the wind is blowing in the upper atmosphere so quickly that the clouds were passing by the sun. So suddenly I was in bright light, then it was dark, bright, dark, bright, dark. Yeah, so definitely we are in fall here in the Portland, Oregon area. It makes me want to hunker down, but also it's our best time to travel. So we are very busy this month, and this is my birthday month, and it's a big birthday, so it's like, oh my gosh, how in the world did that happen? If you're new to this channel, it's about cross stitch, but also about a whole lot of other stuff. So if you hang around, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Being that it's my birthday month, I have just scheduled the bejeebies out of it because I celebrate all month. I just recently came back from Crabapple Hill Studio Designs up in Washington, and you can Google that. It's an embroidery designer, Meg Hockey, and it was a fabulous time. It was really a fabulous time. But one of the days was a long day, and so you could kind of come and go from the studio, and we chose to go antiquing and to a cross-stitch shop, which I will tell you about in a little bit. But it was a fabulous event. One of the things, I know that many people either for a variety of reasons are not able to participate in all of these different events, and so there's a little bit of FOMO that goes on, I know, because I have it also. When I watch FlossTube and someone's living large, there's just, human nature is just a part of us to go, why can't I? They're so lucky. Well, it's all about choices, I guess, and where you want to put your pennies, and whether you're physically able to or logistically can, or emotionally make the leap to travel clear across the country. Yeah, this past workshop at Crabapple Hill was drivable. So a girlfriend and I drove. Actually, it was supposed to be 3 of us, but one of the friends, Cheryl from Stitching with the Sisterlies, was unable to go at the last minute, and so then it just ended up with 2 of us driving over to Washington. It was about a 3 to 4 hour drive from where I'm located. A lovely drive along the Columbia River. Yeah. So, one of the events that has happened to me this month, which I have to get used to, is I now have an Apple Watch. I don't, yesterday my daughter-in-law was giving me a little bit of a lesson because it was driving me crazy with all its beeping and carrying on that it does. Yeah, so I'm not sure about it. I'm not feeling the love yet. Let me just say that. I'm not feeling the love. Well, I have been having some moments where I think I'm going to plan how my cross stitch is going to go along, and then it gets upended by something I've watched. So I was watching FlossTube, specifically Kim, the Contented Stitcher, and she was talking already about 2024. She was talking about a whole bunch of different Sals. Now, we know that not all of us have the capability to effectively participate in a Sal, unless, like Lady Robiness, we call it a start along. But then there's that start along pile. So as I was listening to the concept of 2024, so 24 starts in 2024, I was like, no way. Yeah. Yeah. It was, I actually, my Apple Watch went off because my heart rate went up. But it did get me thinking about 2024. And then there's some other, there's a lot of Sals starting, and there's something happening on New Year's Day that you do 12 starts from midnight, 12 to 12, or I mean, we are always trying to figure out a way to stir the pot, aren't we? Well, I knew that that wasn't going to be part of my New Year's Eve celebration because I can't stay up till midnight. I can't even remember the last time I stayed up till midnight. So, but it did. All of that is, you know, even though you feel that tension that comes up when you see someone's doing these fabulous things, or they have these fabulous plans, or they are finishing all of the things, it's still good because it makes you kind of look at you have to listen to your own heart. You have to listen to what motivates you and what stresses you out, and you really have to pay attention to that. You can't get sucked into all of it, but it is exciting to watch, and you do see a whole lot of fun things. So after I was done watching FlossTube, I thought, what am I going to do? What is my plan for the rest of the year and into 2024? Now, I have a big pile of whips, but the way I approached this year, starting in the spring, I didn't get my mojo figured out in January. It was a couple months in, at least 3 months in, that I went, okay, I want to figure out a rhythm for myself. And that is where I developed the program for the designated stitch. And what that means, I know some of you have heard this before, but for those who haven't, what that means is I kind of can stitch anything I want whenever I want until the evening time. And we're very boring, so our pattern, if we're not traveling, our pattern is to have happy hour and then dinner and then clean up the kitchen, and we go up to the sitting area in our bedroom to watch television, and I stitch. So I designated that period of time in the evening to one project. So I'm stitching the same project every evening, unless I'm traveling and something disrupts that. But when I'm at home, I'm stitching on one project every evening to completion. But given my personality, I need variety. So during the day, I have no restrictions. I can do whatever I want. And that has proven to be beautiful. And so what I suggest for you is to figure out what works for you. We're all so different, but we all have a passion for stitching. So what works for you that's not going to make you feel bad about it, all the stuff you have or all the starts you have? What rhythm, what dance move are you going to figure out for yourself? So this year, what I decided to do was, it was the year of stitching for family. And so the family members that I intended to give stitching to, I did a designated stitch until it was done. And that proved to be really, really good. It was so satisfying. And on top of that, it actually made me feel better about myself, because self-judgment is such a huge part of my personality. So I started feeling really good about myself, because when I was a kid, I was always told I was a procrastinator. And that's such a negative word. And it wasn't that I was really a procrastinator. It was that I'm disorganized and I'm all over the board. But given some parameters, I found I could be successful. So don't judge yourself, just figure it out. So I've been working on, I'm on my last designated stitch, and that is my youngest grandson's Christmas stocking. And actually, this isn't my last designated stitch. I'll have to tell you more about it. But here's the stocking. It's a shepherd's bush, and I had it all kitted up at Acorns and Threads. And just because I left the label on, I'm going to be able to tell you what fabric this is on. It is on cork linen, natural, 18 count. And I got it at Acorns and Threads. So here I am. Now there's quite a bit of stitching, little tiny start and stop stitching at the bottom, but I'm definitely, it'll definitely be done this month so that I can finish it. So then I thought, oh, I'm done with the designated stitch. But then I remembered that I really had this other stitch that I wanted to do for a family member. And it is a Daisy Joe Designs, and I'll link that onto an Etsy. She has an Etsy shop, and I just always loved this, and I knew exactly who I was doing it for. And so here it is. Oh, is this the actual chart? No. So there it is. I just think it's lovely. And the family that I am going to be finishing this for, I think they'll enjoy it. And this is being stitched on a fabric that I got at Stitchville, USA, and it's a Mystic Gray 18 count. And this is, I haven't touched it in like a year, I think. This is the bottom. But as soon as that stocking is done, this is moving up the food chain. Yeah. So next year was supposed to be the year of me. That means all the whips that I started that I want to have for myself, like the trees. I know all of you who have been with me for a while are wondering where the trees are. They're right over here. But the trees are going to get done in 2024 because they're going to move into the designated stitch category. As soon as I finish the Daisy Joe design, I am going to be, this is going to be a designated stitch. And this is an old chart that was gifted to me. I mean, you know it's old when it says 35 cents. Yeah. And I'm doing this for G. And let's see, I know that it's being, this looks like a, I don't know what fabric this is, but it looks like, it kind of looks like a even weave maybe, or an Ada, I'm not sure. But last it got touched, that's where I was. So I really want to get that one done. And then the rest of the year, it's going to be all about what I want to get done. And that's what I can encourage you to think about, is that yes, as you watch all the floss tubes, and we all have our different party program, really think about what's going to work for you. What's going to make you feel good? What's going to make you want to buy that next chart rather than be browbeating yourself? Well, while I was sitting here watching floss tube, I don't have the, let's see, I downloaded the PDF, so it should have a cover paper. Oh, there it is. This is a Tiny Modernist I got off of Fat Quarter Shop on a PDF, and it was sitting here. I have a pile right here, a pile in my sitting room area, and a pile right next to me here in the beehive. And I decided I wanted to just stitch another day. So I'm on number 6. And the way I'm doing this particular, and I don't know what fabric this is. Let's see if I can find, no. It's in this absolutely adorable Chris Yo bag. And look at these these scissors. They're such fun scissors with the little scissor fob. So I don't know what fabric this is. But the way I'm stitching it, isn't exactly the way they say to stitch it. I decided that the frame of the month of the calendar I'm doing with 2 strands, and the rest of the motifs I'm doing 1 strand. So you get to do what you kind of want to do. Whatever makes you happy, huh? Okay, what else? Do you see Enzo? My friend Jennifer sent him a Halloween outfit. Look at, he has a little pumpkin on his sweater. I'm going to put some candy corn in his little bag there. Isn't he adorable? I just died laughing when I opened the package and she had sent Enzo a holiday outfit. And she also sent a beautiful handmade card. And in the note she sent, man, is that not just... Yeah, oh, this is interesting. The card is from the Lustgarten Foundation, and it's the largest private funder of the world's preeminent pancreatic cancer researchers. Oh. Yeah, boy. And she sent me a homemade postcard. This is all stitched. Isn't it just the sweetest? And I love the way the A reminds me of the Eiffel Tower, because I have such fond memories of my time there. Okay, so while I was at Crabapple Hill Studios, my friend Loretta bought me a cup for my birthday, one of those metal cups. So, and it matches the pink, my pink stitch box. So I'm going to be so, what do they call it, kind of pulled together. I'm going to be pulled together. But I wanted to tell you that while we were at the Crabapple Hill Studios, and we took a break one day, we went to antique shops. I went with, this was the funny part, is that we had a problem with my friend's car. She had a flat tire, and so it turned out, our guardian angel that day was a gal named Tammy, who stitches with a lot of people that we used to stitch with when we lived on the other side of the mountain. And it was fun catching up with her and hearing about all our stitcher friends over there and what their plans were. It was like a connection to back home. And I don't get over there as much because the grandkids are over here. And I really have them, like, I like being with them a lot. Yeah, why wouldn't you, huh? So Tammy and Robin and I went antiquing, and I've gotten addicted to, you saw in a previous episode, the salt cellars that I turned into pincushions. And so I'm always looking for something beautiful, unusual, that I can turn into a pincushion. Well, I found this glass, I believe it's a toothpick holder. Isn't that beautiful? Excuse me. But my intention is to turn this into a pincushion. I don't know. You know, what's really funny is that, 50 years, another generation from now, someone's going to find these pincushions I made in an antique shop or a vintage shop and say, wonder why she stuffed that toothpick holder. I know. It's too funny. I mean, we just keep collecting things, don't we? One of the places we took a field trip to, Tammy and Robin and I, was a shop, a cross-stitch shop in one of the Tri-City areas. I'm not sure which. I'll link the website. I'm not quite sure which city it was in, whether it was Kirkland or Richland, but it's called the Needful Needle Crafts. It was a really different shop, and as you travel, you visit these different quilt stores and stitch shops, and you do a comparison and how different people do things. So this shop was not very big, but when you opened up the door and went in, you could tell that it was a shop that was embraced by the local stitchers, because they were having a stitch group at the time we were there. And the stitch group was willing to help you look for stuff, but I had a challenging time because of the way I shop, or the way things are presented. It can be confusing or clear for me. And in this particular shop, they didn't have, and it could be because of the size, that they just couldn't. they didn't have charts where you could see them. They were stacked this way. So, like Plum Street, all the Plum Street was on one rack, one hook, which meant if you wanted the one in the back, you had to take off all the ones in the front. It was a different way of presenting the products. It was very, I was there 20 minutes before I realized that that's the way they were displayed. I thought like whatever was up front, that's what was behind. And so it was somewhat confusing to me. And the chart that I bought, though, there was a sample stitched, and that made all the difference for me. We are spoiled. We are definitely spoiled with Acorns and Threads because there are samples galore and trunk shows. It's just fabulous. And so it's hard for someone like me who, unless you know the designer, I mean, really, samples do suck us in, don't they? And so this particular chart had a sample, and I fell in love with it. It's a tiny modernist chart, and it's called the Moon Phase Bell Pull. I mean, this, it really, I mean, it doesn't look as fabulous as the sample looked. But because you can barely see that there are trees. Oh, there you go. There are trees down below, and then you have the phases of the moon. I mean, lucky for me, one of the stitchers that, and it was great because a couple of the stitchers were a lot younger, and it was nice to see that they were, that the craft is continuing on. But they were nice enough to, because one of them had stitched this and said that, you know, there are different whites in this. And so she helped me pick the threads out, the different white threads. And the predominant floss in that shop was Sullivan's, which I had never seen before. Yeah, I had never seen that before. And then I bought a package, Dames of the Needle, from the Cauldron, mini pom-pom baby seal. I bought those pom-poms because I had to dye the last set of pom-poms to get a brown. So that was an interesting stop. It was and it's right next door to a quilt shop, but the quilt shop was closed. The quilt shop was closed. So the last thing that I want to share with you is one of my birthday gifts from my friend Robin. She's a potter. I think that's what they call them. You know, she hand molds clay. She doesn't do the wheel, you know, the spinning of the wheel. She hand molds clay, paints it, and then fires it. And she made a beautiful little candy dish, which I showed on Quilt Roadies, but I had to show you this pot that she made me. So some days I feel kind of worried and sad. Look at that plant up there. And then some days I feel happy. Today, I feel happy that you're here. Isn't that adorable? Yeah. So cool. Absolutely the coolest. Yeah, so that's it. We're caught up. G and I are hoping to be on the road here shortly. We'll see. The van had a recall on it that has to be fixed, so we are planning on that happening, and then we'll see you down the road. Love you guys. Take care.